nobody's going to the movie theaters. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it only had what, a 20% drop,
37%. Yeah, 37, which is pretty good for what it is. So, welcome to another episode of the Music Blah Blah. What? Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say I didn't know it started. I was gonna say like I'm really happy that like Free Guy got such a word of mouth and like grew like naturally. It's just cool. Welcome to another edition of.
Yeah, it is. All right, welcome to another episode of the Music City Drive-In, brought to you by the Drive-In Podcast Network. I am your host, Ricky Valera. On today's episode, we are going to review the recently released Adam Driver-led film Annette. It is available on Amazon Prime Video right now. There was like 900 movies that came out this weekend, and this was probably the most polarizing for so many different things. I'm still waiting for. Like, I'm ready to see, like, normal people's reviews. Not critic reviews. I want to see, like, people's... Like, in a week, I'm going to go on Amazon and be like, watch the reviews of this. But, as always, I'm joined by my co-host here, Jacob. How are you, bud? Now we're copyright infringement here. Cool.
Oh, it was supposed to... I fucked it. It was supposed to be literally right at the right spot, and I missed it. So, well, I'm good.
That was rather eventful. We appreciate that. I don't really know what else to say right now, but I appreciate whatever just was supposed to happen that didn't happen. But joining us this week, and as he does mostly every week, Mr. Matthew Fox. How are you, sir?
Just glad I could be here for the last episode after Jacob violated copyright and gets us purged from the internet.
That's all I wanted.
Anything else we could do for you while we're on this dead air right now? But I don't even know what to say. Also,
this is why I didn't podcast for a month.
Is that why?
Yeah.
Joining us once again, she's been on the show before. Miss Nicole, how are you today? I'm
good. I'm very excited to be here and talk about this movie.
I really had a whole entire thing planned up to introduce you, but Jacob has royally screwed all that up. So, like, I really didn't know what else to say other than, hi, Nicole. You know what I mean? Like, I'm at a loss for words right now. I really...
No, this is great. I feel like this is the kind of chaos that this movie deserves. So,
oh my God, it really does. I mean, if you look at the picture, for those of you watching, I mean, this is what this film entails. It is what I saw this 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I coined it the prequel of Chucky, and I still stand by that statement. You know what I mean? I've never been so just, I have no clue in before in my life.
To be fair, she did say she was going to break every single lamp in the world. So,
yeah.
She does have a Mean Street cut in her.
We have started a new little bit of a trend here on the Music City Drive-In where we kind of break down the film a little bit different. First, we'll go around and everybody will give their anticipation of the film. It could be post-trailer, pre-trailer, whatever, on a scale of 1 to 10. Then everybody will have 60 seconds to review the movie without spoilers. Yes, folks, this will be a spoiler-free review of Annette. Other than, showing you pictures of the baby of Chucky. And then we'll give you 30 seconds to give the score plus overall thoughts. And then at the end of the show, we're going to give our top 5 movies of the year. They could not have been eligible for the 2021 Oscars. So that is going to be the only one. So basically it had to be released post-March and it had to be released to the public. So that wiped away half of Jacob's list already.
My top 5, Cherry, The Little Things.
The Little Things doesn't count. That was pre.
Yeah,
that was the joke.
Cherry doesn't count. Cherry technically didn't count because it tried to go for.
It was like March 18th, right?
Some Oscars, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was eligible though, yeah, because they tried to.
They tried to make it happen.
Hard. I don't know what they tried to do, but it didn't work.
It's like Fetch. Stop trying to make Cherry happen.
Yeah, I'd like to stop thinking about that film.
Yeah, I tried to erase that from my memory, so can we stop?
I did a podcast on that movie. It was like an hour and 15 minutes long. I wanted to kill myself. All right, so moving on, I am going to put Nicole on the spot first with just some quick thoughts real quick. On a scale of 1 to 10, what was your anticipation scale of Annette to begin with?
Honestly, I was around an 8. I'm a big fan of Adam Driver. I think that he's a really interesting actor, and that even when he's in a movie that's not good, he's always giving an interesting performance. So that was kind of enough for me. And he hasn't really done anything in a while. This is like the first of his sort of trio of movies that are coming this year. So I'm also always excited to see a movie musical that's something quite different than the norm. And that definitely, from the first moment that I heard about this movie, I knew was going to describe Annette.
When Adam Driver brings out movies, he doesn't bring out just one at a time. Like, you know what I mean? He's got to bring out like 7 at a time. You know what I mean? It was like the Marriage Story year, The Report as well. But it's pretty crazy. Jacob, to you, anticipation level for this film.
So Adam Driver is probably one of my favorite actors right now. And I think before it released at Cannes, I was probably around a 6 or a 7. I just didn't know a lot about it. I think when I saw the Sparks documentary, that got me a little more interested. But I think after Cannes, with like such the polarizing reviews and opinions and stuff, and just hearing a lot of people saying like this is like super weird, I think that like pushed it up to about an 8 or a 9 because it just seemed like something that was like right up my alley.
Mr. Fox, what about you?
So before I saw it, I had not seen a trailer, knew nothing about the film, but it was still, and I actually don't know who the Sparks brothers are and had never seen that film. So this was the definition of going in cold. However, Ricky's inability to contain himself while trying to describe the movie but not wanting to tell me anything about it until I had seen it put my anticipation at an 8.
It's true. I watched the movie and I was like, I don't know what I just watched. I'm still not sure what I watched. And I'll go over a little bit of my review. It's just, you can't describe this movie. You can't. Like, you can try. You can try your best. But it like, I don't know how to, I really like, we should just do like a log line. How do you describe this to the normal, average, everyday person? And it's like, I don't know. Like, and that's where I come up with, it's the Chucky prequel.
Well, you just sent me that picture that you keep showing, so I thought it was a horror movie until I started watching it. I'm like, oh, this seems like a delightful musical.
Baby Chucky.
Like a delightful musical.
I did. I sent him a screen. And
he's like, is this a claymation?
No context. No context at all. I was sending it to everybody. I saw it and I was like, I wasn't trying to spoil anything, but I was like, this is weird. So I don't even know. It's still very weird. But all right, folks, hang on. Let me get my timer ready. Let me go ahead and get some dead silence on the air for everybody to listen to while I get my timer ready. But we have 60 seconds. I'll give everybody a chance for 60 seconds to break down their thoughts on Annette. Again, please, as spoiler-free as possible. And as soon as your 60 seconds is up, I can't talk. As soon as your 60 seconds is up, if you're not done talking, I will mute your mic and we will move on to the next person. Yes, it is a breakdown that fast. And with that being said, I am going to make Jacob go first. Okay. 60 seconds. Isn't it? Hold on, real quick. Pause real quick. Look at the top left-hand corner. It says 7-day menswear, which is hilarious just to see in the top left-hand corner of the screen.
That's actually part of my bedroom.
Is it? Okay, I just wanted to make. I thought for sure it was at first. Like, I'm not even kidding. I literally thought that was like one side of it, 7, and a Japanese cuisine. Perfect. Awesome. So, all right, your 60 seconds starts now.
Okay, so yeah, I loved it. I think it is like super weird. The best description I got was like if Bo Burnham had made Eraserhead, which I think like really encapsulated my kind of thoughts on it. I honestly, I'm just a big fan of like really weird and kind of eccentric stuff. I do understand a lot of people because that first like opening song is probably one of the better songs of the whole thing. And I understand that like a lot of the movie didn't quite live up to that moment. And I do understand that the movie isn't like the most confusing movie. They just tell a very straightforward film in a confusing way. But it's like if you try not to like explain or try to justify it and just let it like happen, it's a lot more enjoyable than like trying to pick and put the pieces of the puzzle together. So I really liked it. And
all right, Mike's muted. Time's up. Sorry about that. You have 30 seconds in a minute. You know, I'm going to go next because why not? Okay, so when I watched this movie, I did not know what I was going into. I really didn't. When I watched this first hour, the first hour is probably some of the best piece of film work that you've seen this year. Adam Driver is insane. I don't. He is one of the best working actors. Like every time I watch him on the screen, I'm captivated by him. Even The Report was a not so great movie, but he was great in it. And then Marriage Story, he knocked it. I think he kind of put himself on another level in that film. But Annette is weird. Yes, it's very weird, but the story is, like you said, it's kind of simplistic in some aspects. They just go about it in so many different aspects. The music's great in it. Adam Driver's scene that was it like 5 to 10 minute monologue is probably like top tier for me this year, performance wise. I think on the downside of this entire thing is Adam Driver gives one of the best performances in probably one of the most polarizing movies of the year, which I think kind of throws him out of this complete loop to begin with, which is kind of sad. And then of course you have the House of Gucci coming soon. So, Nicole, you are up.
Okay, so obviously it's very odd, but I think the thing about it is that if it works for you, then it works for you. And luckily it really worked for me. It's the exact kind of weird that I like, to the point that like I really like the puppet in it. I think it's amazing that they're able to make you feel that much for a puppet child. And it actually is very reminiscent of the type of puppets used in one of my favorite musicals. So as soon as it appeared, I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's do this. Obviously, Adam Driver's great, like you just said, Ricky, but Marianne Cotillard is also fantastic. And surprisingly, Simon Helberg is amazing in this, to the point that he might even be my MVP of the cast. I think he gives a really fantastic supporting performance. At first, I did not think the music was that great, aside from that opening scene, which is fantastic. But I've been listening to the album like nonstop since I first saw it. So I am going to go back and say I actually do think the music's really good. And it's really unique and very unlike, I think, any other movie musical that we're getting in this year of like 4,000 movie musicals. And I think it explores some interesting ideas around like the audience-celebrity relationship, toxic masculinity. It doesn't fully follow through on everything, but what's there is really thought-provoking, and that's what, you know, I like to see in a movie, and it's also very moving. I actually did cry at the end of this movie, and that is something that kind of elevates a movie for me, if it can actually get an emotional response out of me. So I think it really worked for me, but it is like a very weird movie to recommend to people. I feel like I can't actually recommend it to anyone because they could hate it, and then I'd feel really awkward.
Should I go? Usually you do an intro, so I am going to say...
Sorry, I was on mute and I didn't realize I was on mute, so now you can go.
I appreciated Jacob's 1 minute description. It was almost more entertaining than the film. I thought the beginning was really good and really compelling. It's that midway point when they make a story decision and, more importantly, a creative decision with that picture that we'll probably see 95 more times this episode. It either works for you or it doesn't work for you. I was also confused by the creative decision they made at the end to sort of undo that creative choice, which also took me out of everything. So I loved it. And then I was like, why am I still watching this for the second hour?
Yeah, that's one of the things that is extremely strange, I guess you could say, about it is it's either going to attract the people or it's going to be like polarizing. Like I said, it's a very polarizing film as a whole. I do think that they had something, and then it's very much, if you don't like weird, and that's there's no other way to really put it. I don't think if you don't like weird, then this movie is really not for you, and that's why I think it's weird, like that Amazon, like that's why it's coming out on Amazon. This movie probably would have bombed in the movies. You know what I mean? Like, it just would, like, you know what I mean? And
that is like working at a movie theater. Like, these are the type of movies I live for, because they're the ones that like I want to hear people's reactions when they come out of it. Like when Green Knight came out and someone actually came out and said he came on his belt and then like died. And then like they just walked out before the movie was even done. And I was like, I just love hearing those kind of reactions, like from people that come out. Like, this is a movie that, like, as like a person who works in the theater, like I love these kind of movies, like these like polarizing type of stuff, to see like what the general audience thinks of it.
I agree. All right, so now we're going to break down to 30 seconds to give our score of the film and overall thoughts. And I'm going to kick us off just because, okay, so for me, I started my score has been all over the place. I still don't really know where my score has finalized. It started at like a C+, Then it went up to like a B minus, and now it's like maybe at a B. And if you want to look at it at that scale, like it's like a 2.5 to 3 stars in that scenario, right? You know what I mean? It's very solid, but also I don't know if I'll ever watch this movie again type of scenario. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of vibe that I get from Annette. I really probably could watch that 10, 15 minutes all over again of him just acting completely out of his mind, and the just insult to Adam Driver that ensues by every time that Jacob brings up not so funny Bo Burnham at the same time really, really hurts my soul, because he is not funny at all. Like they're not even close in the comparison, because Bo Burnham is not funny, and that special is still one of the worst things I've watched all year. But I am in the mix of C plus B territory. Like it's very fluctuated, but ultimately, Driver's performance is where I kind of land on that B mark. And Nicole, you are on the clock here.
Okay, I'm going to go with a high B. I can't give it an A as much as I love it, because it does have some flaws, and I think there are some issues, but I love a movie that takes a risk. The performances are great across the board. The set design is really interesting, and it won't work for everyone, like I've said, but if it does, it does, and it really works for me. So I'm like a B plus.
Yeah, I like that, because and that's what I'm saying. Like it's I appreciate films that take risk, and that's why my score kind of fluctuated the way it was. And of course, Driver's performance kind of took it to that next level for me. Fox, to you, sir.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a movie a few years ago, Tree of Life, which was also very polarizing for people that saw it. And I loved aspects of it and didn't love the whole thing, but I've gone back and watched it several times since then, and I liked it more. I'm wondering if that'll be the case with Annette. But for now, that I loved the first hour. The rest of it didn't work for me, so I gave it 3 out of 5 and a C.
Yeah, see, that's not bad. I don't mind that as well. Jacob.
So I completely agree. I think this is definitely like a movie where, like, if the creative decisions work for you, you will really like it. And if they don't, you will hate it, or at least not like it as much. Because I did like the creative decision that Matt was talking about earlier. That's actually what I was hoping would happen at the end. And it kind of like, for me, it tied the whole idea of the movie together. I gave it a B plus. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it's not a movie, like everyone said, that I would recommend to people, but it's definitely one that I would probably watch again.
Real quick, I'm gonna put everybody on the spot. What is everybody's anticipation for Candyman next week?
10.
-5.
Absolutely.
-5.
Okay, I'm going to say a 7 because I hate horror movies, but I love Nia DaCosta, so I'm like truly at war with myself over this one.
Okay, real quick, everybody's thoughts on the original.
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I think
it's okay.
I think it's
okay.
I think it's aged really well. I think it's like one of the few horror movies that, like, it might actually work better now than it did back then. And I saw it for the first time ever last summer, and I like really liked it then. I think I gave that one like a B plus, like a 4 out of 5 stars. So I'm excited for this one. I love Yaya, and I love Coleman Domingo's in it. So Ricky, like you and I are all over it.
Love Coleman.
He
still is my supporting actor so far this year for Zola. Still in my number 1 supporting actor for it. All right, so real quick before we go to our top 5 movies of the year, if there's any other movies you watch this weekend, just kind of drop me some quick thoughts on them. Nicole, you first.
So last night I rewatched Inside. No, but actually, incredible. No, but I actually was watching it with my little sister because she is 18 and very hard to impress. She's in that phase where like
Nicole, it was nice having Nicole on the show with us. I'm sorry. Whoa, were you back? Oh, I'm sorry. Something happened. The button got
I just want to say it impressed my very hard to impress 18-year-old sister. She actually laughed out loud several times, which I was very nervous trying to impress her with anything. But yeah, that's all that I've watched this weekend, actually, thus far. I'm going to be watching some more stuff later tonight, though.
Mr. Fox, anything have you watched? Did you watch Habit again?
Never again. It did pop up somewhere. It's like, oh, that looks like a religious movie, and I was like, It's not.
Oh, it's so bad. Anything else you watched this weekend?
So I did watch the Paw Patrol movie, despite having never seen the show. And then shortly after that, I watched Sweet Girl, and I'm going to be honest, it's a toss-up, which was more disappointing.
Jacob?
And I'm about 75% of the way through Reminiscence.
So I watched. When we do our top 5 movies, are we just naming them, or are we gonna like talk about the top 5?
No, we're just gonna name our 5 through 1.
Okay,
order.
so I'll talk about it now. So I saw The Night House last night, and I guess spoiler, it's in my top 5 now. Like, it's so crazy to me. I actually really did like The Night House, and it's like crazy to me how. Because
no spoiler, because I haven't seen it yet.
No, yeah, no spoiler, but like for all of us here, it's like it's so hard for us to go to a movie and know literally nothing about it. And that's what I did with this. I only knew what my coworker told me, and I literally after I went up and talked to her, and I was like, everything you said was wrong. And so I actually knew like nothing about the movie, and I was very impressed. I thought Rebecca Hall was fantastic.
She's
thought
a
the
great
direction
actress.
was like, it was like, I don't know. I think Searchlight did the movie, and it was like Searchlight's A24 movie. And it's like, it's definitely one of those movies where like, I think it got a C- cinema score, which is like so understandable because I completely get it. But there's such a big buildup and such a good payoff, in my opinion. And I really liked it. Like, I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Actually, I really want to see it. I just didn't carve out enough time this weekend to watch it. Of some of the new releases, I did watch The Protege. I really enjoyed that. It was way better than I ever thought it was going to be. But Michael Keaton alone carries that film. Sweet Girl is an abysmal piece of garbage. It's
what a terrible twist!
It's so bad.
The twist is
bad.
Yeah, it's
terrible.
awful. It's so bad.
Shut up, Jacob. Yeah, he watched it, but you will feel the same way once you watch it. Please don't watch it. You find something else better to do with your time. But
Yeah, don't.
Jason
bother.
Momoa, and I'm sorry, I'm on record. Jason Momoa can't act. I'm sorry.
Hey, Jason
I hate to break
Momoa
it
wasn't
to
in
you.
the movie if you talk to Netflix.
Funny enough, he says that. I sent him something. There was a press release that came out from Netflix, and they listed everybody inside the movie but him. And I'm just like,
and even in the thing Ricky sent me, in like the synopsis, it gave like the daughter's name in the synopsis and not in the cast, but it didn't.
Yes.
It just gave Jason Momoa's
character's name. It was so bad, and the twist is terrible.
They're trying to protect that secrets at all costs.
Would be better for him if he were not in the movie. So
Oh my god. But I watched Reminiscence. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to say anything about it. I thought it was unique, different, breath of fresh air, kind of original. It's not great, but there's some good performances in it. I did watch Vacation Friends this weekend too, and I won't talk about that yet because I'm not allowed. But yes, don't watch it.
Okay. Dang it. I was gonna ask if that should be the one I watch because I was thinking about watching that one tonight.
Oh yeah,
No,
because
it should
it's
be the Paw Patrol movie
definitely don't do that either.
or Habit.
All right, so top 5 movies of the year. I went at 5 through 1. Let's see here. Who's going first? Matthew Fox.
It's good. So my number 5 is Riders of Justice, which was actually one of the films I reviewed for the site. It is also weird. The story is weird. Some of the creative decisions are weird, but I guess it was the kind of weird that works for me. It has an opening sequence that for most of the movie I was trying to figure out why it's there, and when you figure out why it's there at the end, it becomes so profound and powerful. It really stuck with me. It's a Danish film. Mads Mikkelsen is in it. It has subtitles, so you will have to read it. Yeah, the cover art and the description, they don't really tell you what it's going to be about. But I'm going to be I'm going to be honest. Much like Annette, it's a tough movie to describe. My wife has asked me a few times, like, "Why did you like it? What's it about?" And I'm like, you just have to watch it. My number 4, I'm going with Herself, which was released by Amazon this year, and it wasn't in any of the awards. So even though I'm pretty sure it came out early, I've decided to defy the guidelines we were given. Claire Dune is great in the lead role. I thought it was really powerful. My number 3 also probably isn't eligible for the Academy Awards, is Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Thank God.
Although I think it should be because it's a completely different film. If you saw the original one that was released in, I guess it was 2016, 2017. Wasn't very good. I liked this 4-hour version. I watched it all in one sitting. I thought it was great. Number 2 is 9 Days, which released in theaters on August 6th. I thought that was really good. And then my number 1 is Coda, which you should go watch on Apple TV Plus.
Or in theaters.
Jacob.
Okay, so a lot of my 3 of my top 5 were Sundance releases. So to please Ricky, I'm going to move away from those. Also, one of my Sundance releases that I have in my top 5, Ricky absolutely hates. So I'm just gonna stay away from that one as a whole. So I guess my number 5 would actually be Free Guy, which we talked about last week. I still love it. It's a lot. I think it's a lot like The Truman Show, and I think that's why I like it so much, is because The Truman Show is one of my favorite movies ever. And I still really enjoy it. I think it's like I was saying at the very beginning. I think the natural progression of people wanting to go see it has been really cool. My number 4 is actually The Night House, which is the movie I just talked about. I saw it last night. It's honestly it's not weird, but it's one of those movies where you really have to pay attention. And this isn't a spoiler, but for everyone here, if you do go see it, make sure you're looking in the background of certain scenes, because there's a lot to do with shadows and figures and little things that if you look in the background, you'll be able to see things that aren't supposed to be prominent on the screen, which I think when directors do stuff like that is really cool. My number 3 is Annette, which we just talked about. I haven't stopped listening to the music. A lot of people say that Adam Driver can't sing, and I'd say you're right, but that's not the point. The point is that he can't really sing. And I wouldn't want a studio album from him, but I really enjoyed him in a musical. And I thought he was just phenomenal in it. My number 2 is The Green Knight. I still think that that's a fantasy, just incredible, epic. I know Nicole and I talked for literally hours trying to figure out some of it, and we still don't understand most of it. And I think that's really cool when a director makes something that you really have to go back and you can always find different meanings from each one. And my number 1 is Coda. I think it's just such a sweet, such an honest film. That's another movie. I haven't stopped listening to the music. Go see it on Apple TV Plus. But if you can, go see it in theaters and support the movie in any way you can. I know in Nashville, they're actually doing a screening, and they're having someone who is deaf and who is a part of the ASL community come do a speaking after. So I know if you can go see it in theaters, go see it. Take your family. It's a super sweet, it's an honest movie. It's something that I think should be seen. So that's my top 5.
Nicole, to you.
Awesome. So my number 5 is a movie that I feel like I watched forever ago, but it does technically count, which is The Courier. I am not typically someone who's super impressed. I'm not a huge Benedict Cumberbatch fan typically, and I was blown away by him in this movie. And I think it defies a lot of the issues that I normally have with these spy movies, and that it really actually does make me care about the characters. So that I feel like a lot of people missed it. Definitely go seek that one out. My number 4 is Annette. I love Annette. I've already watched it twice. I'm probably gonna watch it a lot more. I think I'm gonna get the vinyl of the album so I can listen to it even more. My number 3 is a movie that literally no one but me and the people that I made watch it have seen. It's called Monday, but it does count for this. It's Sebastian Stan and Denise Gough in Greece, and it's kind of all about a relationship coming together and then falling apart, which is one of my favorite types of films. My number 2 is Coda. Coda's fantastic. Also, Coda is the opposite of Annette in that I feel like I can recommend it to anyone and they're going to get something out of it. My coworkers have been watching it because I made them and they've all loved it too. It's just a really sweet, well done movie. And my number 1 is actually In the Heights. I love a good, big blockbuster musical whenever it's well done, but I don't think it's well done very often. And I think that this one actually had the right approach to the source material. And it was also one of the first movies that I saw back in theaters. So I know that also sort of colored my thoughts on it. But Yeah, that's my number one since I can't count Sundance films.
Yeah, I know. The funny thing about it is everybody thinks that I just screwed up their list by not being able to count Sundance, but 2 of my top 3 are Sundance movies that I can't count. And there's actually
You
have
should have just let us all fawn over the movie that we all want to do. We all
yeah,
want to
on the count of 3. You're right, exactly. No, but we're gonna have a podcast based on that film.
I'm excited for Matt
It's going
to see
to be it's going to be one of those films that I think is going to be that movie's going to be more polarizing than Annette ever will be. It's going to be very interesting to see the discourse and the conversation around Mass, because there's going to be a lot of people that like it. There's going to be a lot of people that hate it. And there's going to be, there's not going to be an in-between. You're either going to see one side of it or the other side of it. And it's a hard watch. It's a very hard watch. And if you're a parent, it's even more of a hard watch. So it's yes. But my top 5, nonetheless here, I've got Stillwater, Sweet Girl, Midnight in the Switchgrass, Pig, and Habit. I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. That was my bottom 5. My bad. I'm sorry. Also,
cool.
Pig sucked. All right, no. So my top 5, number 5 is Coda. By default, it's in my top 10. I like Coda. I just don't love it as much as everybody else does. I think it's a very good movie. I just don't think it's a great movie. Sound of Violence, a movie that probably nobody has seen. It started at South by Southwest, but then it was released in its video and on demand or whatever. I like it. If you're looking for something original, something unique in the horror genre, this is the type of film. I wouldn't call it horror either. It's more thriller, slasher style thing. Think like Scream. But basically, God, what's her name? I already forgot her name. Jasmine Savi Brown stars in it. She's great in the movie as the villain-esque thing she is, but it's a fantastic film. I like it a whole lot. Number 3, Cruella. I still love this movie. I will watch that movie 400,000 times again and again and again because it's so, so good. The soundtrack's good. The movie's good. Quiet Place 2 is my number 2. I loved it. I thought it was great. The soundtrack is phenomenal. I saw it on the massive, massive screen. And it's just what Krasinski has done and created is something beautiful. And my number 1 is 9 Days. I have not seen a movie. I saw 9 Days last year at AFI Fest. And that and The Father were 2 of the movies that I watched. I watched both those movies twice in like a 36, 48-hour time frame. And I was emotionally distraught I'm still not recovered, I don't think, because both movies look at life in 2 different perspectives, really. One's losing life, one's beginning life at the same time. But 9 Days is one of the most original, beautiful films that I think I've seen in a very long time. And what Sony Picture Classics did to that movie really pisses me off, because Winston Duke is, if it counted for I think it technically going to count for this year's Oscars. I know it was part of what was it? The Independent Spirit Awards last year. But 9 Days is one of the most beautiful films that I've seen in a very long time. That's fresh, unique, different. And Winston Duke is going to win an Oscar one day. And I wholeheartedly believe that, because his performance in this is just insane. Nicole, have you seen 9 Days?
I actually haven't yet. I was literally just thinking, thank you for the reminder that I need to watch it.
Oh my God, please. It is so, I've seen it 3 times now. I saw it twice in 24 hours, and then I saw it I sent it to Jacob to watch, and he did not watch it.
He sent it to me like a day before my birthday and was like, okay, you have like 12 hours to watch this. And I was like, oh, thanks.
Only because
it's a birthday present.
Exactly. No, I gave Jacob the best birthday present ever once time. But
no,
all right.
I have it right here.
You really does. Oh, wow. He has it handy. I did. Look at that. It's the
oh my God.
It's awesome. Yeah, but with that being said, the movie that I think, what is the other movie on your top 5 that would be Nicole from Sundance? You said you had 2 of them?
Oh no, I just had 1, just Mass. I didn't actually go to Sundance. I just snagged a ticket to Mass because everyone was talking about it.
Yeah. My other one would have been On the Count of 3, and Jacob's other one is Prisoners of Ghostland, which is absolutely, positively fucking terrible.
Amazing.
Terrible.
I loved it. No, But since you
just
mentioned it, on the count
described
of three,
polar ends of Nicolas Cage's career. Some people love his movies. Some people makes them wish for
Pig
death.
was bad too, but that's beside the point.
Prisoner of the Ghostland, I'll save Ricky for now, but I absolutely loved it, and I think it's probably one of the best like satire movies that I've ever seen.
Oh, I guess Ricky never told you the funniest thing is I got confused and thought Willy's Wonderland was the movie you liked of Nicolas Cage's from Sundance. And I was watching, and I'm like, I don't get it. Oh no, that's not the one. It's Prisoners of Ghostland.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, it's funny to me because Jacob and I agree 90% of the time, but when we don't agree, it's not a he gave it 3 stars, I gave it 2.5 stars, he gave it 4 stars, he gave it like 4.5, 5, and I gave it like 1.5. Like that's the poll. Like it was Uncut Gems is like that. Uncut Gems is straight garbage. But he loves Uncut Gems. Bo Burnham's Inside, Outside, whatever the hell that thing's called. He gave it whatever many stars. I gave it 0 stars. Like it's The Lighthouse was like that. Now Prisoner of Ghostland's like that. There's another movie. What's another one?
I am going to say on informal polling of my coworkers, I think Ricky were too old for Inside Bo Burnham. It feels like people under 30 love it, and people over 30 are like, "What the?"
That is what I've seen in my office.
The thing about it is,
all my sub 30 coworkers are like, "You have no heart," and I'm like, "You have no class."
My whole thing is like Bo Burnham started YouTube in 2009, and as an 8th grader, literally as an 8th grader in 2010, I started watching Bo Burnham like when he was like still at like 100, 200,000 followers. So I've like followed him his entire career, and so like anything he does is just going to be like gold to me, honestly. It's just one of those things that I've just grown up with.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, Prisoner of the Ghostland is awesome. On the
it comes out soon,
awesome.
right?
I think so. Yeah, it finally had its trailer.
It's coming out on VOD though. What I saw online, it doesn't.
That's what it should come out. It should come out on TNT or TBS or something like that.
September 17th. I would
to
love
do a
review
can't
of that
wait
one.
to watch this.
Oh my god. No, Matt, I honestly think you will think like it's either.
I just hope it's better than Willy's Wonderland, because for a while I was like, man, Jacob's raving about this. I don't get Nicolas Cage doesn't even talk. This is hot trash. And then oh no, that's not the one. Woo!
That one's bad too.
Prisoner of the Ghostland is like the ultimate. You will either like absolutely think it's like the most like stupid, like unreal, boring thing ever, or you'll think it's like amazing, like I did. I want people to watch it, even though I wouldn't recommend anyone to watch it at the same time.
That September 17th show is shaping up to be gangbusters because we have Clint Eastwood's latest Cry Macho and Prisoners of Ghostland.
So,
and then the next
Eyes of Tammy Faye. All I really care about is Eyes of Tammy Faye. I can't wait for that. Jessica Chat.
Same.
I've heard it's really, 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 really good. I've heard it's really, really good.
I heard she's really, 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 really
good.
Regardless of the rest of the film around her.
Yeah. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for the card counter, which I've also heard is very good. I'm excited about that. Shang-Chi looks like Shang-Chi. I'll be whatever. I mean, I'm excited in some aspects because I don't think Marvel they don't really miss, but also I'm just superheroed out. I really feel like I really don't care. I really feel like the death of superheroes is whenever Zack Snyder's Snyder Cut came out. With that being said, and I really liked it. So there's that.
Yeah, he says that, but then he also saw a leak of the Spiderman trailer and was like, this actually looks really, really good.
Oh, I can't wait for Spider-Man. Like, I mean, that's real fun. Actually, I'm excited for Venom too. I really like the first Venom. So there's that. I mean, it's about to be award season. I'm really excited about it.
Morbius, but that's just me.
When's that coming out?
It got pushed again.
Did it get pushed again, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'll watch anything with Michael Keaton in it, to be honest.
They got to save and dole Jared Leto out in controlled doses because somebody like clips a picture and then drops it on their podcast at random moments for months at a time. So.
Ricky, you need to update that with this House of Gucci picture.
What? Calm down. Which one do I need to update with?
With the House of Gucci picture where he's like got like his like fat face on.
Oh, yeah. I know. I really need to do that.
What you need to do is cut that baby out, and next time we do those blockbuster trivia, you get 3 marionettes.
No, just put it on each side of the. I don't know why. I'm literally pointing at my screen right now, trying to show you where I'm going to put this. At that point, it's time to leave the podcast. Real quick, I've seen a lot of chatter about how The Last Duel looks great. Is anybody else watched the trailer and seen not thinking it's going to be a steaming pile of garbage?
So I'm reading the book it's based on right now.
You're reading a book?
Shut up.
Wow!
Sorry, that sounded really mean.
It was me, Jacob. I mean, come on. Be nice to. I want Nicole to come back on.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm about halfway through the book, and it is not something that I would look at and say, it needs to go to the screen, but particularly Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are the right people to make this movie. I have not laughed so hard as I did whenever I saw them in that trailer in a long time. They look so out of place and so bad, and I have no idea what this movie is going to be like.
The only reason that I'm actually really excited for it is if the reports that they actually did the screenplay from two different perspectives, I think that could actually be really interesting because they had Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote the male's version, and then they had I can't remember who, but she wrote the female's version, and I think that actually could be really interesting, actually having both of that rather than having Matt Damon write a girl's part.
Right, Matt Damon write a story about that revolves around a sexual assault. And Ben Affleck. These are not people I trust with that per se. And those are two men. I look at them. I know that they use microwaves. I know that they have iPhones. They cannot blend into a period setting. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me. I don't know. I love Ben. Ben's one of my favorite peoples. He's one of my favorite he's a great director. He's a great director. But when I first, the first time I saw the trailer was in the theater. And I was just I saw somebody tweet the other day, oh my God, I just saw The Last Duel trailer and it looks so good. I'm like, what?
They actually were saying Adam Driver looks good in it. And that
okay. All right. Well, Adam Driver's ugly, but that's aside the point. That's a different hill to die on.
No.
That's a different hill to die on. So
wrong. I have a whole article that I need you to read.
So, all right. I looked at the October slate. It is packed. The Many Saints of Newark, No Time to Die, Halloween Kills, The Last Duel, Venom, Dune, Jackass Forever, Best Picture winner right there. And then, of course, The Last Night in Soho. But before we go, Nicole, give us your information. Social Security, phone number, all that good stuff.
Credit card, yeah. I am on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, all that at Nicole Ackman 16. I've got a link tree there to all the different places that I podcast and write, but I will shout out, I have a period drama podcast. We're going to be covering The Last Duel, where my friend and I, who are both trained in history, look at period dramas, and that is called Petticoats and Poppies, History Girls at the Movies.
That sounds awesome. That's
we actually have done some very cool stuff. We just did a big episode on the Green Knight because my co-host is trained in Arthurian legend. So I was explain things to me. We actually also did an episode recently on National Treasure and talked about the ways in which they talk about history in that movie. So yeah. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the Green Knight because I thought it was just okay. But make sure to check out everything. This is the Blu-ray that
that's the one I was talking about.
It's completely misleading. No, I mean it is.
It looks like it's an episode of Sons of Anarchy. That's what that kind of looks like. You know what I mean? Mads.
That tagline. That tagline.
Someone is going to pay.
Is this a Liam Neeson movie? I'm confused.
There were parts of it though that did feel like his version of Taken, but it has an actual plot.
That's an interesting choice of using words. One of the most fascinating films I've seen in a long while. The Wall Street Journal. That's an interesting, because that does not mean it was good. You know what I mean? It does not mean it's good at all. But
it's going to be very much like Annette. There are some things in there that are really going to work for you.
Yeah,
really
I thought it was good. I liked it. I thought it was pretty solid. I didn't think it was terrible. But all right, folks, do us a favor. Head on over to Twitter. Give Matthew Fox a follow at Nighthawk7734. Give Jacob a follow at TBR57. Give myself a follow at RickyVlair_. Thank you so much, Nicole, for coming on with us this week. Make sure to check her out on Twitter at Nicole Ackman16. Head on over to the Music City Drive and check out all the latest articles and reviews. Also, make sure to check out the other shows on the Drive-In Podcast Network. Thank you so much for tuning in this week, and we'll talk to you guys next week.